I think they're going to raise rates. I think what the report said is that the economy continues to grow. If we kind of average the last 3 months, we're looking at something in the range of 235,000. That's enough to keep the unemployment rate coming down. We're pretty much at the bottom of the forecast range for full employment on the Fed members if you look at their charts. So I think the Fed wants to get going. Unless there's some really bad news right at this point, I think the Fed is inclined to make that move. Keep in mind, we're talking 25 basis points.
So when we look at policy, we think about one more rate cut of 25 basis points and two more triple R cuts of 100 basis points. I think you'll also see on the fiscal side some easing with regards to upsizing the LGFE bond swap. We've already seen that upsize from 1 trillion to 2 trillion. RMB, we could see that further upsize. There's been talk of that going to 3 trillion. I think that would help ease a lot of the pressure that's been on local government financing vehicles, which has existed year to date. So clearly that would be something to solve. I think when we step back and look at the bigger picture, we have, real rates are at a very, very high level. Even today, mortgage rates are at 5.5%. Corporate rates are above 6%. When you think about that PPI number of negative 5.4%, that was the worst in 41 months, and that really implies almost double-digit real rates on the corporate sector. So there's a big need, I think, to lower lending rates, and we do think that's something that happens over the next couple of quarters and hopefully add some relief to the credit sector.
I think we're around there. I don't know if this is the bottom yet or not for sure. I guess that's based on a couple things. The biggest thing is, has the dollar peaked out? Most people think the dollar's going to keep going higher. And if it does, then commodity prices are probably going to keep going lower. I happen to believe the dollar's been in a peaking mode here since March. And I find it very interesting, for example, that despite the fact the probability on the Fed tightening moving up to September has gone up to almost 60%, you got the dollar weaker today than it was, prior to the payroll report last Friday. And commodities are rallying somewhat on that news. I tend to think with a little bit of dollar weakness and with a bounce in not only in the United States growth, but also just globally from all the policy stimulus that we've been enacting, if there's a bounce, then I think commodity price got an excellent chance of surprising everyone and rising over the next year.